Howdy, partners! Let's talk about something that's important to all of us: money. Now, I love a good splurge at the grocery store as much as the next person, but sometimes we gotta rein it in and take a good hard look at our finances. Did you know that a whole heap of folks out there are living paycheck to paycheck? Imagine this: you work hard all month, put in the hours, do the thing, but when it comes to actually putting some money aside for a rainy day, well, there just ain't much left. Frustrating, right? It's like trying to bake a pie with only half the ingredients. Well, the good news is that by changing a few habits, you can take control of your money and start working towards your financial goals. We're going to break down some common money habits that might be holding you back. And, more importantly, we're going to find some practical solutions to get you on the right track. So grab yourself a glass of iced tea and let's get started. Now, living beyond your means might sound like something only fancy city folk do, but it can happen to the best of us. It's easy to get caught up in trying to keep up with the Joneses, buying things we don't really need to impress folks we don't even really like. Think of it like this: if you're constantly dipping into your savings, or worse yet, relying on credit cards to make ends meet, you might be living beyond your means. It's like trying to fit a whole herd of cattle into a one-horse trailer. Something's gotta give. But don't you worry, there are plenty of ways to rein in those expenses. A good first step is to track your spending for a month. Write down every single penny you spend, from your morning coffee to that impulse buy at the checkout line. You might be surprised at where your money is actually going. Once you've got a handle on where your money's going, it's time to find some areas where you can cut back. And no, I'm not talking about giving up your daily cup of joe. Small changes can make a big difference in the long run. Take a look at your subscriptions. Are you using all those streaming services? Could you be making your own lattes at home instead of hitting up the coffee shop every day? Every little bit you save adds up over time. Another helpful tip is to start meal planning. Planning your meals in advance can help you avoid those last-minute trips to the grocery store where you end up spending way more than you intended. Plus, it's a great way to use up leftovers and reduce food waste. Remember, it's not about depriving yourself. It's about being mindful of your spending and making choices that align with your financial goals. It's like when I'm baking a pie. I can't just throw in all the sugar at once or it'll be too sweet. It's all about balance. Now, I know what you might be thinking, budgets sound about as fun as a screen door on a submarine. But trust me on this one, a budget is not about restricting your fun. It's about giving you the freedom to spend your money on the things that truly matter to you. Think of a budget like a roadmap for your money. It helps you track where your money is coming from and where it's going so you can make informed decisions about your spending. It's like planning a road trip. You wouldn't hit the road without knowing where you're going and how much gas you'll need, right? Creating a budget doesn't have to be complicated. Start simple by listing out your monthly income and all your expenses. There are plenty of apps and online tools that can help you with this, or you can go old school with a pen and paper. The important thing is to find a method that works for you. Once you have a clear picture of your income and expenses, you can start allocating your money to different categories, like groceries, housing, transportation, and of course, fun money. Don't forget to factor in savings goals, like that new tractor you've been eyeing or a family vacation. Now, I know life happens, and sometimes unexpected expenses pop up like a prairie dog in a field. That's why it's important to build some wiggle room into your budget. Having a little cushion can help you avoid going into debt when those unexpected costs arise. And remember, your budget isn't set in stone. It's okay to adjust it as your income or expenses change. The key is to review it regularly and make sure it's still working for you. Creating a budget might take a little effort up front, but trust me, the peace of mind it brings is worth its weight in cowboy boots. Howdy, partners! We've all been there, standing in line at the store with a cart full of things we didn't know we needed. You know, those adorable throw pillows that match your curtains perfectly, even though you weren't shopping for pillows. Or curtains. Or maybe it's that shiny new kitchen gadget you just to have, even though your drawers are already overflowing with similar gizmos. It's easy to get caught up in the moment, especially when something catches your eye and whispers sweet nothings like, "You deserve this." But trust me, those impulse buys can really add up and leave your bank account feeling as empty as a feed sack after a long cattle drive. Now, I'm not saying you can't treat yourself every now and then. We all need a little something to brighten our day. But before you swipe that card, take a breath and ask yourself, do I really need this, or do I just want it right now? If it's the latter, try putting the item on hold or giving yourself a 24-hour cooling off period. You might be surprised how quickly that burning desire fizzles out, leaving your wallet a little fatter and your conscience clear. So, how do we wrangle those impulse buys and keep them from busting our budget? Well, one surefire way is to make a list before you go shopping and stick to it like a branding iron on a steer. I know, it sounds kind of boring, but trust me, it works wonders. Write down everything you need, from groceries to toiletries, and try to resist the siren song of those tempting end cap displays. Remember, those strategically placed goodies are designed to lure you in, kind of like a cowboy at a rodeo dance. Another helpful tip is to shop with cash. There's something about physically handing over those hard-earned dollars that makes you think twice about unnecessary purchases. Plus, it's a whole lot harder to overspend when you only have a limited amount to work with. And here's a little trick I learned from my own shopping escapades. Unsubscribe from those tempting email newsletters and avoid browsing online stores when you're feeling spendy. Out of sight, out of mind, as they say. Remember, those flashy sales and limited-time offers are designed to create a sense of urgency, making you feel like you'll miss out if you don't act fast. But don't be fooled, partner. You're strong enough to resist the allure of those marketing ploys. Life on the ranch has taught me one thing for sure. You gotta be prepared for the unexpected. Just like a sudden hailstorm can wreak havoc on a wheat field, emergencies can pop up out of nowhere and throw your finances into a tailspin. One minute you're cruising along, paying your bills, and maybe even treating yourself to a fancy latte, and the next you're hit with a hefty car repair bill or an unexpected medical expense. It's enough to make your head spin faster than a calf roping competition. That's why having an emergency fund is so darn important. It's like having a financial safety net to catch you when life throws you a curveball. Now, I know what you're thinking. Saving money is hard enough. How am I supposed to find extra cash for an emergency fund? But here's the thing. It doesn't have to be a huge amount all at once. Even setting aside a small amount each week or month can make a world of difference when the unexpected happens. Think of your emergency fund as your own personal Fort Knox, a secure and impenetrable vault where you store your financial reserves. A good rule of thumb is to aim for 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. I know, that might sound like a whole heap of money, but remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. Start small and gradually increase your savings over time. You can set up automatic transfers from your checking account to your savings account each month, so you don't even have to think about it. It's like magic, but with money. Another way to boost your emergency fund is to find creative ways to cut back on your spending. Maybe you can pack your lunch a few days a week instead of eating out, or try a more budget-friendly cable package. Every little bit helps. And here's a little secret. Pretend that money doesn't even exist. Out of sight, out of mind. Remember? Treat your emergency fund like a bill that has to be paid each month, and you'll be amazed at how quickly it grows. Credit cards. They can be mighty handy little things, like a multi-tool in your back pocket. But just like any tool, they can be dangerous if you don't use them responsibly. One of the biggest mistakes folks make is falling into the minimum payment trap. See, those credit card companies, they're a crafty bunch. They make it oh so easy to just pay the minimum balance each month. It seems like a good deal at first, right? You get to keep more of your hard-earned cash in your pocket, at least for now. But here's the catch. Those minimum payments are often barely enough to cover the interest charges. And that interest, well, it can add up faster than a herd of cattle stampeding across the prairie. You end up paying way more for your purchases in the long run, and it can take you years, even decades, to pay off your balance. Now, I'm not saying credit cards are all bad. They can be mighty useful for building credit and earning rewards points, but it's important to use them wisely and avoid falling into the minimum payment trap. So, how do we break free from this vicious cycle? Well, the first step is to take a good hard look at your credit card statements and see how much interest you're actually paying each month. It might be a bit of a wake-up call, but trust me, it's better to face the music now than let those interest charges keep piling up. Once you know how much you're up against, it's time to create a plan of attack. If you can, try to pay more than the minimum balance each month, even if it's just a little bit extra. Every dollar you put towards your principal balance is a dollar less that those credit card companies can charge you interest on. Another strategy is to try the snowball method. This involves focusing on paying off your smallest credit card balance first, while making minimum payments on your other cards. Once that first card is paid off, you take the money you were paying on it and apply it to your next smallest balance. It's a great way to build momentum and stay motivated as you chip away at your debt. And if you're really serious about getting out of debt, you might consider consolidating your credit card debt with a personal loan or balance transfer card with a lower interest rate. Just be sure to read the fine print carefully and make sure you understand the terms and conditions before you sign on the dotted line. Howdy, partners. We're moseying on over to Chapter 7, and this one's all about investments. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Investments? That's for city folk with fancy suits and complicated spreadsheets. But let me tell you, that's just not true. Investing is like planting seeds in your garden. You put a little something in the ground now, nurture it over time, and watch it grow into something beautiful and bountiful later. See, when you ignore investments, it's like leaving money on the table, and nobody wants to do that. Investing might sound intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. There are so many resources available these days to help you get started, from online articles and podcasts to financial advisors who can guide you every step of the way. Remember, even small steps can make a big difference over time. Just like you wouldn't expect a prize-winning pumpkin to sprout overnight, you gotta give your investments time to grow. So, how do you get started with investing? Well, the first step is to figure out what you're saving for. Is it a down payment on a new ranch house, a college fund for the kids, retirement on a sunny beach somewhere? Once you have a goal in mind, you can start exploring different investment options that align with your timeline and risk tolerance. There are tons of different options out there, from stocks and bonds to mutual funds and real estate. Don't be afraid to start small. Even if you can only invest a little bit each month, it's better than nothing at all. Think of it like feeding your investments a little bit at a time, helping them grow bigger and stronger. And remember, it's okay to ask for help along the way. Just like you'd call up your neighbor for advice on mending fences, don't hesitate to reach out to a financial advisor if you need guidance on your investment journey. Now, let's talk about something that can be a little tough to swallow: asking for financial advice. It's like asking for directions when you're lost. Nobody wants to admit they don't know the way. We might avoid it because we're embarrassed about our finances, or we think we can handle it all on our own. Maybe we're afraid of being judged or pressured into making decisions we're not comfortable with. But here's the thing, partners, seeking financial advice doesn't mean you're not smart or capable. It just means you're smart enough to know when you need a little help. Just like you wouldn't hesitate to call a plumber if your pipes burst, you shouldn't hesitate to call a financial advisor if you're feeling overwhelmed by your finances. Think of a financial advisor as your own personal money coach. They can help you create a game plan for your finances, answer your questions, and provide support and encouragement along the way. They can also help you avoid costly mistakes and make the most of your hard-earned money. Now, I know what you're thinking. Financial advisors can be expensive, right? Well, that's not always the case. There are plenty of affordable options available, and the benefits of having a trusted advisor by your side can far outweigh the costs. Remember, you're not alone in this journey. There are people out there who want to help you succeed, and seeking financial advice is a sign of strength, not weakness. It shows that you're taking control of your finances and building a brighter future for yourself and your loved ones. Well, partners, we've reached the end of our journey together. We've covered a whole heap of ground, From living within our means and avoiding impulse buys to the importance of saving, investing, and seeking financial advice. Remember, taking control of your finances doesn't have to be scary or overwhelming. Start by picking just one habit you want to change and focus on that. Once you've mastered that, move on to the next one. It's never too late to change your habits and start building wealth. Your future self will thank you. Remember, even small steps can lead to big changes over time. So saddle up and get ready to ride towards a brighter financial future. Happy trails, everyone!